It's a investigation that began in 2024 to investigate a series of extortion crimes that were targeting the members of that community. They involved a variety of criminal activities such as uttering threats, arsons, and shootings to try and extort money out of members from that community. So what we did at the time is we created an investigative team focused specifically on addressing those crimes that were occurring. And as a result of other investigations, we were able to identify 8 individuals that were involved in committing those acts. Now, as of last July, we had arrested 6 of those individuals and charged them for various crimes related to those extortion crimes, and 2 individuals we identified were actually out of country. One such individual was identified as Arjun Sanan. We were able to link him to 3 separate shootings that were involved in these events, one of which occurred in Edmonton, one occurred in Sherwood Park, and one occurred in Winnipeg. Now, I was fortunate that nobody was injured in those shooting events, but certainly it was through good fortune that they weren't, as bullets were ripping through residences, narrowly missing occupants, including children, in those events. So as such, we issued Canada-wide warrants for his arrest, and it was that process that allowed us to be notified that recently he was returning to our country. So on September 20th, our investigators were able to go out to the Edmonton airport, and they were able to arrest him upon landing. So he has since been charged with weapons offenses, and he's been remanded, and he is waiting to speak to bail on those charges. The second individual was identified as being the leader behind the extortion crimes being perpetrated in our community. He was identified as Maninder Dhaliwal, and his current location is over in the United Arab Emirates. Now, we are working with our federal government in trying to negotiate his extradition back to our country to be able to answer to those charges. The challenge right now is there is no extradition treaty in place with the United Arab Emirates, so it just makes the negotiations just a little more complex and time-consuming as a result. Now, we became aware in the spring of this year of a new series of extortion crimes occurring within the South Asian community again. Having learned from our experiences with Project Gaslight, we again formed another team that was dedicated specifically to looking into these events. This time we also partnered up with the RCMP and Alert and obtained resources from them to assist as well. On top of that, we've become aware of other cities that are experiencing their own series involving extortion crimes. So we've been in contact and collaboration with these other cities regarding their incidents, because really the police community as a whole want to be as robust and do everything we can to try and suppress these events and identify and hold those accountable that are perpetrating them. Now, there's been new developments. Early this week, on Monday, the federal government announced that the Bishnoi gang would be listed as a terrorist organization in our country. Now, to provide a little background on the Bishnoi gang, it's believed to be a criminal organization that is involved in conducting these international extortion crimes. So it's a little early to determine exactly what this designation will do to assist us or any other police agencies in this country at the moment in progressing with our investigations. What calling an organization a terrorist organization allows police agencies is simply enhances some of the existing investigative tools we have available to us. And certainly it's the RCMP's integrated national security enforcement team that's mandated to address national security and terrorist concerns. But we, as the Edmonton Police Service, we work with them. We have members that assist with them to deal with local events and assist in any investigations within our local communities. So I would like to take this opportunity, though, to thank all of you for being here and being engaged in our investigations and getting the information out to our communities. It's very important to us to ensure that everybody's aware of what's going on. within our communities. It helps us by getting the message out. It also helps us in obtaining information and cooperation out of our communities as well. So you all play a very important role in that and keeping everybody updated. To date, we've conducted 2 different community town hall events with the South Asian community just to provide them with updates on the various investigations that are going on, to be able to provide information such as this to them. And now we're also including you today to also get that messaging out. Because the more information we have, the more people are willing to come out, identify that they themselves are being victimized, or they know of people being victimized, or they have information that they know who's doing the victimization. It's just going to be that much more important to get on top of all this, so hopefully end this sooner rather than later. With that, I'll be happy to open up to any questions anybody has.
As per usual, if you could just go to the microphone there and just identify your outlet and go ahead with your question.
Hi there, Johnny with the Edmonton Journal. You had mentioned the Bishnoi gang, but you didn't specifically draw, at least today, a link to this, I guess, Project Gaslight series of arsons. Is it believed that this is tied to that organization?
You know, it's a belief that they have an involvement, but the thing is at this point in time, we don't have evidence that we can make that claim that they're involved in ours. It's certainly something that our investigators are open to, but at this time, we just cannot make that claim that they're involved in these.
And you had mentioned the situation hasn't really changed with Meninder Dhaliwal. There's obviously no treaty there, but am I right in thinking that he is in custody in the UAE, or is he? Do you know what his status is? Could he?
From my understanding, he's not in custody, although he has been dealt with over there, and they're certainly keeping tabs on his whereabouts. But again, it's a matter that's beyond my capabilities to speak to at this time. It's our federal government is certainly putting the efforts into trying to negotiate his extradition to answer the charges.
Hi, Liam Dubiging, CBC News. Can you say, like, right now, why you believe these groups are targeting specifically the Southeast Asian community in Edmonton?
You know what, that's a difficult question to answer, to be honest with you. All we know is, and that we can speak to at the moment, is it just happens to be this particular group that's getting targeted at this time. To make a definitive linkage is not something I can provide you right now, but we certainly are investigating all angles when it comes to these crimes.
And as these crimes are happening in multiple cities across the country, is it Southeast Asian communities in all of these cities that we're seeing consistently targeted?
Yeah, it is a commonality that we are seeing amongst the various different cities. So that's why we're all collaborating and working with each other, sharing as much information as we can. Again, the whole purpose of which is we all want to work together to try and suppress this and hold those accountable.
Darcy Ropchan, City News Edmonton. With the 21-year-old man who was arrested and charged, with him being on his way back to Canada, can you say what the story with that was? Was he returning to Canada willingly to potentially commit more crimes, or was he coming here to face charges? Or
all I can tell you is he was coming back to our country, and we were notified simply because we had the Canada-wide warrant in place. So CBSA authorities were able to contact us, give us the heads up, and we went and arrested him at the airport.
I know you also said it's very early to tell what you can do with this terrorist designation, but you said it does enhance your powers a little bit. Can you maybe just give some examples of that?
When I say it can enhance powers, really it gives you a bit more authority to deal with, say, seizure of property or funding of individuals that are determined to be conducting activities on behalf of that organization in particular. So again, these are authorities we've had. It's enhanced in how we can do them in slightly different processes and what we can go about in obtaining those.
You'd mentioned there's a separate, I guess, investigation into similar arsons targeting the South Asian community that you started in the spring. Does that group of arsons have a name like Project Gaslight, or is that just another? I'm just wondering if you've publicly talked about that series yet.
Well, and just to correct you, it's not just arsons. Like, these criminal groups, they use a variety of tactics. Again, it's threats, it's arsons, it's shootings, it's violence. Threats or violence, I guess I suggested that, but for the second go-around, it's a little nuanced here just to explain it to you, because we started off as the Edmonton Police Service. We created Project Garter, and you might have had that in your release notes, but again, we brought RCMP and alert resources into play, so it just expanded the project.
Do you know if there was an arson at I believe it was a 34 Avenue mini mall earlier this year? It destroyed a couple businesses. Do you know if that's linked to this at all?
And one of the challenges when it comes to these investigations, just so you're aware, is they are using tactics that others also utilize to commit their own crimes for their own reasons. And there's other series that can occur that are totally unrelated to this. So what we have to do as the organization is we have to go out to each one of these events. We have to get all the pertinent information. And from there, we're going to be able to assess whether it is part of a larger series related to Project Garter, whether it's part of a different series and requiring different investigators to participate in it. To that particular one, I cannot tell you. I don't know myself if that is or not. I don't have that information, but just know that we do have the investigative processes in place that are identifying what will be related to this particular series and what will be investigated by other areas. And what message we like to get out to the community is if we allow these criminals to operate in the shadows and out of the awareness of police, they're just going to be emboldened, and they're going to continue to do so. Information and evidence is going to be the best thing that we can get to hold these individuals accountable and try and suppress these activities. Now, I ask that if you're being victimized, or if you know of anybody being victimized, to please contact us at the Edmonton Police Service. There's a number of ways we've set up in which you can do so. You can contact us through the Edmonton Police Service complaint line, which is 423-4567. Also, in regards to these, we've set up an email address that you can send a message to, and that's known as Project Gaslight at edmontonpolice.ca. Plus, we have established a dedicated phone number in which a message can be left to either contact you or provide information on, and that number is 780-391-4279. And on top of that, Crime Stoppers is always an option available to you as well. So again, we highly encourage you, please reach out, work with us, and help us stop this as soon as possible.